Suicide Squad number 25, written by Matt Kint, art by Patrick Zurcher. This is another tie into Forever Evil, as was the last issue, where we wrapped up with there being two teams, one with Deadshot Harley and Captain Boomerang, the other with Power Girl Steel. God, who was that last guy? Power Girl, Steel, Unknown Soldier, and we got a name for the last guy that I thought was like Mad Dog or whatever. It turns out his name is Warrant. Never heard of him. So they were all going after OMAC, and both were sent by Amanda Waller, but it turns out it wasn't actually Amanda Waller. It was the Thinker. And we get an intro of this issue as, who the hell is the Thinker? And I'm just going to say straight up, way too much text. Like, so much of this is just narration boxes of the Thinker saying like, I'm so smart. You don't understand how smart I am. People think 20 moves ahead. I'm thinking years ahead because I'm so smart. So anyway, the Thinker is apparently just this guy who's really smart. And he has the body of like a 70-year-old, but that's only because his brain works so hard that his 25-year-old body has turned all frail and wrinkly because his brain works so hard. So he's managed to use a 3D hologram replica of Amanda Waller to go out and recruit people to basically get OMAC for himself because that is the will of the crime syndicate, but he's got his own machinations years down the road. So we see the two teams are about to start fighting. Meanwhile, Harley and OMAC are kind of just holding back a little bit, getting loaded up into the ship. And as the fight starts breaking out, we see Power Girl breaks one of Deadshot's like wrist things. Captain Boomerang throws a flashbang boomerang. Steel grabs Captain Boomerang by the head and is about to like crush it. And Deadshot holds Steel at gunpoint saying, "Who sent you?" And then Steel's like, "I don't know. Who sent you?" And Unknown Soldier chimes in saying, "We were sent by Amanda Waller." Deadshot, who are you sent by? And he's like, Amanda Waller. So immediately they all stop and just like, okay, hold on. Were we both sent by Amanda Waller? Is she that level of conniving? And immediately Deadshot and Captain Boomerang are like, yeah, that's kind of her whole thing. Unknown Soldier also kind of vouches for him and says, yeah, no, I was on the Suicide Squad. And I heard that Waller was recruiting heroes, which didn't make any goddamn sense to me. So I put myself out there to get recruited by her. And now we see that, yeah, her thing was probably just a hologram. And Steel's just like, all right, well, in that case, I'm not going to trust anybody here because I think you're all liars. And it's like, all right, well, fine. Let's just focus on the mission at hand, and then we'll figure out where we should even be delivering it to. Let's get OMAC. And they look around and it's like, oh, OMAC's gone, and so is Harley. And it turns out that Harley was specifically in contact via her little crime syndicate coin with the Thinker, he pointed out that everybody's kind of stupid. There's occasionally above average intelligence, but like they're all very predictable, except for Harley. She is completely unpredictable. And to someone like Thinker, he's like, God, I need that in my life. So he's recruited her and he instructed her, okay, here's the startup code, get OMAC up and running. So she says the code, and then OMAC starts like giving off energy and uses a huge beam of light or, heat vision, whatever, and just starts bringing an entire mountain down on the two squads underneath. So Harley takes the plane, flies out and says, all right, back to Belle Reve. Meanwhile, at Belle Reve, Waller is trying to get in contact with Deadshot. No dice. He's not answering. James Gordon Jr. enters the room and says, hey, Waller, that machine Thinker's building is pretty much operational. Whatever he's waiting for, he's just waiting at this point. Also, pretty sure King Shark's going to eat you. And she's like, all right, well, if that's the case, we need to go down to level 7. And Junior's like, I thought this place only went to level 5. I've seen the blueprints. And she's like, why in the hell are you looking at the blueprints? But no, there are 2 secret levels beneath that. Level 6 and level 7. He's like, and we're just skipping over level 6. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, there's some crazy crap in level 6. You don't even want to know about it. But no, level 7's where it's at. And she starts to explain, because he keeps asking questions, Task Force X was, of course, not the first iteration. There was a Task Force W before it, and a Task Force V before that, and U before that. And Junior's like, I'm sorry, the X was alphabetical. You had 24 different task forces. And she's like, yeah, kind of. Regardless, we're here. And they get their way into Sector 7 or Level 7, whatever it is, and start making their way in. And Waller's still wearing that like collar with a bomb in it. And Junior's like, how did you manage to let him get that on you in the first place? And she's like, man, you ask a lot of stupid questions. And we see 2 days ago, as everything was going down, basically Thinker just fired a gun that had the collar as the like ammo. It wrapped around her neck, and Thinker said, all right, that thing is tied to my heartbeat. So if I die, you die. And if you leave, you also die. Got it? And she's just like, all right, whatever. So at that point, they finally make their way to the door. Turns out they were followed by King Shark. Junior says, I'll hold them off. You get in there and do what you got to do. So Waller gets inside, and Junior uses his knife to attack King Shark for a little bit. But then he's like, okay, hold on. King Shark, listen up. The whole reason you're working with Thinker is because he knows where your dad is. And King Shark's like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, he doesn't. The only person who knows where your dad is Waller. So why don't you just like chill, let her do her thing, and then talk to her afterwards? And he's like, all right, well, why don't I swallow you in the meantime? And he's like, if you're hungry, I got plenty of people you can eat. Follow me. So we see Thinker is talking to Harley. She's bringing Omak along, and she's just doing it for the fun of it. She has no like dog in this race. She's just doing it to cause some mayhem. But we do see that Waller makes her way to Sector 7. She sees a big vault that's labeled Project Y, and as she opens it up, inside is something that she swore she would never go to again, something that's probably going to kill her. And she says, the thing inside is this giant king shark looking thing named Cain. And it says, Cain is not a forgiving god. Cain has a long memory. Cain will have your blood, Amanda Waller. The issue does not say this, but as we establish later on, this is King Shark's dad. So yeah, he's a shark god thing. It's a fine issue. I mean, it's I don't quite think that it's on the same level as what I was enjoying from Suicide Squad before this, and it had its ups and downs, but like in general it was pretty good overall. I think that this is good, but it might just be getting a bit too lost in its own weeds, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly where the direction of this is going, because obviously, like, we've just added a new character to the field. He could be doing anything. But then we've also added in Power Girl. We also added in Steel, Unknown Soldiers back in the mix. Like, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and it doesn't feel like any progress has really been made. The only thing we got here is Harley betrayed the team and Omak's on his way, which, fair enough. But it does feel very slow. So whatever we get by the end of this, I'm interested, but I just am not sure if this is the right pacing for it. So all in all, I'm going to say this one's probably just a flat 7. Still good. Again, it's just better pacing. It's just, once you're done with it, yeah, great, cool. It's a fine enough story. But like reading it, it feels like nothing is happening.